Thank you for joining us. I'm Carol Jenkins. The program is Black America. And our topic today, Black women, beauty, and power. Here with us to talk about this unbelievably controversial, even sometimes contentious subject is Vanessa DeLuca, the editor-in-chief of Essence magazine. It's got a circulation of 1 million plus. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
But the circulation of 1 million plus doesn't even begin to tell the story about your reach. How many women read your magazine every month?
Absolutely. We reach about 14.2 million people every month across all of our platforms, the magazine, our website, social media space, our live events like the Essence Festival, you name it.
You name it. I was shocked to learn, and we're going to talk about it a little bit later, that 500,000 people come to the Essence Festival in New Orleans.
That's absolutely
That's
right.
Shocking. But there's so many wonderful things happening at Essence magazine. But I always start the show with the question to the guest about your place in Black America. Where did you come from, and who were your greatest influences? So
Sure.
we share a place at any rate.
That's right. That's right. I mean, a lot of people don't know that I grew up, or I was born in Alabama. I was born in Fort Deposit, Alabama, a really small town. That's where my parents met, where they grew up, and that's where I was born. But I grew up in East Orange, New Jersey.
In East Orange, right. You know, and I was born and spent the first 3 years of my life in Lowndes County, Alabama, which
is where Fort Deposit is.
So we're, you know, connected from the source.
That's right.
So growing up in New Jersey, how did you get from Alabama to, how old were you? And then what was that like?
Well, I was a baby when we moved to New Jersey. Basically, we moved because my dad came up to Jersey to find work. He found work at the Ford plant, and then he sent for me and my mom. And so we came up to East Orange, and she started working at, I think her first job was working at Westinghouse. Is that right?
Right.
And then she ended up working for the phone company, which eventually became Verizon.
Right. Yeah. And so your parents were your greatest influences, or?
They absolutely continue to be. They were, and they still are. I mean, my mom always had a love of reading and writing, and we would do little projects together, like making our own books and magazines, and I think that's probably was like the little bug
Maybe
that
started it all.
Yeah.
We owe it to your mom, right, for that. You would make a magazine. What was the content? What would be in that magazine?
I mean, well, we always have, you know, like Ebony and Essence and Jet in the house. So I'd cut out, you know, the pictures of usually like the models, the fashion fair models, or cut out the pictures of the beautiful images of the Black women in Essence, and kind of create my own little collages and tell my own little stories about whatever it was.
And I love the story you've written movingly about it, the influence of Susan Taylor, who was the founding editor-in-chief of Essence, and her spiritual words. I mean, I knew her. I still know her. She's fantastic.
Oh, she's phenomenal. I mean, everyone read In the Spirit. I mean, there was not one Black woman who didn't read In the Spirit.
In the Spirit was her editor's comment on what was going on in the world and how you should pull yourself together. I always loved.
That's right. That's right. That's right. But it was so inspiring. You know, that was like a destination, had to read it every single month. So there was one column that I cut out from the magazine and had it framed and hung it up on my wall. I think I was in high school, but I would look to that literally it was across the wall from my bed. I could wake up every morning and look at it and feel like, you know what, I can do anything. You know, if this woman is saying that I can do it, I probably can.
And you did it. And do you tell Susan that, you know?
Oh, absolutely.
Now that you have her job.
Yeah. Oh, she's so amazing, and
I know.
been extremely supportive. You know, constantly sending little notes, just like, you know, you guys are doing good. She's very supportive. And she just celebrated her 10th anniversary of her organization.
Mentoring.
National Cares Mentoring Movement.
Right.
We were so thrilled to be there to help her.
So I think of Essence as one of my babies, because while I was not involved in it, I knew Ed Lewis very well, one of the founders, and Susan, putting this whole thing together. 1970, which is when I started in the news media as well as a reporter. So I watched this magazine grow, and it got to a point where we thought, well, maybe it's not going to grow anymore. But you're saying that the need is ever more present for Essence magazine to present its ideas and
Absolutely. I mean, 46 years ago, when the four founders put together Essence Magazine, I mean, it really was to fill a void in this space where Black women weren't being celebrated, or they couldn't see themselves. Their beauty was not being celebrated and honored. Their achievements weren't. And so Essence was the antidote for all the things that they weren't able to see. They wanted to create something that, you know, their mothers and daughters and sisters and aunties could enjoy and really appreciate the beauty of Black women.
Well, I tell you, I just put on my Facebook, posted on Facebook recently, Essence Magazine showing power moves under Vanessa DeLuca's leadership. And that was because I saw this wonderful, wonderful interview with President Obama, Misty Copeland, and the reporter's name is Maya Roden, who is conducting this interview in the White House. Let's take a quick listen to this about women and self-concept. Just wonderful.
So do you find now that you're in a position where you can start pushing the barriers a little bit and boundaries in terms of what people expect, now that you've established that, all right, I can do this, so let me also do that, or I can master that style, and so now can we introduce something a little bit different? How much of that takes place?
Absolutely. I mean, I think that having a platform and having a voice to be seen by people beyond the classical ballet world has really been my power, I feel. It's allowed me to say it's okay to have a healthy athletic body. We are fully capable of doing everything that the person who doesn't have an extremely athletic body, that is more, you know, thin, we're fully capable of doing exactly the same thing. And I think that being in this position and showing that I can execute and do all of these things, that it's possible to have any skin complexion, to have a healthy body image for the ballerina body. I think it's given me more of a voice, and it's, I think, forcing a lot of these top-tiered companies to address the lack of diversity and diversifying the bodies that we're seeing in classical ballet. It's really forcing that conversation to be had. Because
I have to say, as an outsider, I don't know, Maya, if you feel the same way. When I hear that, like, your body type is considered sort of more athletic or large, you're tiny. For those of you who are watching, you may not be able to see. I mean, you're petite.
Yes.
So the notion that somehow that was even a question is pretty interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's how, I think it's a lot of the language and how we use it, and I think for a lot of people.
So a great conversation, and he talked about being the father of two girls who had to deal, you know, with this as well, and especially in their case under such scrutiny.
Absolutely. And then, but, you know, he also talked about the beauty of having a mom, their mom as a role model, a woman with curves and who embraces and owns her curves, owns her fitness, her athletic body, and how inspiring that has been, not just for the daughters, of course, but for all of us, because we're still seeing there's an issue with, you know, us being comfortable, or with other people being comfortable with our own beauty.
Oh, there's so many examples, unfortunately, recently where this has become the whole colorism. I never even thought in years about the concept of colorism and how this was affecting our girls and young women today. Talk to us a little bit about, because Essence has really gone deeply into this subject to make sure that people feel good about themselves.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, we're very deliberate. Even from the beginning of the book to the end of the book, we're very deliberate about what we're showcasing. We want to make sure that every shade and skin tone is represented, every hair texture is represented, all of our features, sizes, petite to so-called plus size. All of that has to be represented in the magazine each and every month and on all of our platforms, because we need to know that it's okay to be whatever you are. It's acceptable, it's beautiful, and you should own it and not be ashamed or scared or feel some kind of way because society or mainstream society is telling you that you're less than. If we're not doing that, then we're not actually owning our complete responsibility to our community, because that is a very key piece of building us up and making us stronger.
And a lot of this has to do with Hollywood, with the media visions of what black women
Absolutely.
are as acceptable and not. And the actress Lupita Nyong'o at your Black Hollywood Women luncheon,
Yes.
just when I heard this, I first read a transcript of it and I said, no, this really can't be this gorgeous woman talking about herself like that. And then I saw the video. Let's take a look at that, because you'll just totally be so moved by this.
I remember a time when I too felt unbeautiful. I put on the TV and only saw pale skin. I got teased and taunted about my night-shaded skin. And my one prayer to God, the miracle worker, was that I would wake up lighter-skinned. The morning would come and I would be so excited about seeing my new skin that I would refuse to look down at myself until I was in front of a mirror, because I wanted to see my fair face first. And every day I experienced the same disappointment of being just as dark as I had been the day before. I hope that my presence on your screens and in magazines may lead you, young girl, on a similar journey, that you will feel the validation of your external beauty, but also get to the deeper business of being beautiful inside. That there is no shade in that beauty. Thank you.
Just wonderful.
Just, you know, to hear her in that room, I mean, you could have heard a pin drop. What she was sharing was so personal and so real for so many of us still, that we're still having this conversation. It's just, you know, it even reinforces even more why we hold the place that we hold in the community, to make sure that there's no black woman that doesn't feel that she's beautiful.
Right. Now, Viola Davis, who has broken through some barriers as Lupita, I mean, who is on Broadway now, on magazine covers, celebrated as, you know, one of the most beautiful women in the world. She's really changed things. And Viola Davis, as an actor, has always said that she felt less than, didn't get the roles, never got appreciated, couldn't act, couldn't be up for the awards because no one would give her the parts. And this wonderful quote that she wrote, it's sad, but what she says is, when you do see a woman of color on screen, the paper bag test is still very much alive and kicking. That's the whole racial aspect of colorism. If you are darker than a paper bag, you are not sexy, you are not a woman, you shouldn't be in the realm of anything a man should desire. Now it's
painful to hear, but that's been her reality. And I think if it were not for another black woman, powerful black woman, Shonda Rhimes, who recognized her talent and her beauty and what she brought to the table, maybe we still wouldn't be enjoying Viola Davis or seeing her in a different light, because you know, there is still that thing of who should and should not be held up as the gold standard of beauty.
Right.
Even,
and
even
fact,
for black
she was
women.
First black woman to win an Emmy in a leading role.
I know, just phenomenal. I mean, it's to see how we're really changing the narrative about what beauty means in our community, amongst ourselves, as well as, you know, in the Hollywood, you know, and on TV and media. I think it's amazing. We're living in a really, truly amazing time.
Right. Well, I noted in reading your biography that you are on Advertising Age's magazine A-list, and you were saying that's a big deal.
Yes, if I can brag on us a little bit. I really do think it's a big deal to be recognized by the media community as doing some things right? So not only are we, like every media company, we're evolving. We have our print publication and our online space, but we're also stretching ourselves, growing our festival, live events business. You know, we're going to be in New Orleans again this year, but we're also taking the festival to Durban. So that's a huge deal, Durban, South Africa.
Right.
As well as we've launched a beauty box, a subscription-based beauty.
I love the idea of that. You know, this arrives and it's got things that are right for you, right?
Yes, well, going back to that thing of supporting and reinforcing our own beauty, these products are picked by our editors every single month, and it's always something that speaks to our hair our hair texture, our skin tone, our specific needs. And there's also the thing that I absolutely love about it the most is that we support Black-owned business. So there's always a Black-owned, usually a woman-led business represented in the box.
That is fantastic. Well, one of the reasons that Advertising Age was celebrating you was because of your Black Women in Hollywood talk luncheon, and that whole, just to get all of those women in the same room has got to be amazing.
Well, I mean, it's phenomenal because this is a space where all of these, where we're not only celebrating extraordinary women who maybe, mainstream Oscars may not have recognized or yet, but it's an opportunity for them to get together and support one another in the community, because Hollywood is a tough business. As Viola mentioned, there are paper bag tests, there are standards, you're constantly battling against what someone's conceived notion is of your talent and your worth. And so the Black Hollywood Luncheon, we conceived it 9 years ago, Black Women in Hollywood, because we wanted to say, hey, we see you. We recognize your contribution to this craft. You are someone worth celebrating. And the speeches that people give, like the Lupita speech, Viola Davis has been honored, Kerry Washington, Jada Pinkett Smith, you name it. I mean, really phenomenal women in front of, but also behind the scenes as well, are recognized at this event. And it's just an opportunity to say thank you. We know how hard it is for you to be seen here, and we just want to celebrate your work. So this was our 9th year.
And because of another Black woman, Oprah Winfrey, you now get to air that.
That's absolutely right. So, which is phenomenal. I mean, we honored Oprah maybe 3 years ago, and the experience of it. In her speech, she said something about, there's something special about when Essence says that you are worthy of being honored. And I think she decided that the whole world should be able to experience this. So, we're so fortunate to have this relationship with OWN TV, and to have someone who understands this platform and wants to share it with the audience. And I think that they do an amazing job of kind of encapsulating that experience and that feeling in the room and that energy. And we've seen through social media, the way people respond to it, that it's inspiring you. Even if you have no interest in Hollywood, the speeches, the goodwill, the feeling of Black women supporting Black women really comes through.
So the Black Girls Network is working. Speaking of another
right.
Black girl, the one who is living in the White House, the Black woman. Every time I turn around, you all are in the White House. I said, "Oh, sorry, we'll be back from the White House. We're doing this, doing that." But a lot of work with Michelle Obama and Black girls. So tell us a little bit about that, of how that's progressing.
She has some incredible initiatives that, of course, we want to support, because it is important to make sure that people recognize with, like, Let Girls Learn, for example, that girls should be educated. Girls should have the right to go to school. Girls should be able to go to class. Girls need that support. She has incredible initiatives like that, along with Reach Higher, making sure that our kids pursue college or pursue higher learning, get the education that they need. These are all things that are important to our community. I mean, when we look at, we talk to our audience and ask them, for example, this year with the election, we asked our audience, what are the 3 things that are most important to you in this election? What do you want the candidates to address? The top thing was affordable health care, gender parity, like equal pay.
Right.
And education, having access to a quality education. That is of utmost importance to our community. So I believe that the First Lady, in serving those initiatives, is really serving our community in ways that will bring us, kind of move us forward.
Yeah, for a while it seemed that the emphasis was going to be on Black boys because of My Brother's Keeper and all of the money and effort that went into that. And then Michelle Obama seemed to step up and say, let's talk about the girls. Do you feel that that's a competition there? Do you think out of this White House that boys are getting more focus than girls?
No, not at all. I mean, I think that there's no, I don't think we should see it in like, either or. Both are valid, both are necessary, both are critical to our community's survival. I think maybe perhaps they started out with My Brother's Keeper because, let's face it, all the really challenging issues we've had over the last year and a half have been things like around police brutality.
Mostly with boys
and mostly
men.
with boys.
Right.
So I think there was a desire to kind of address that need to put some focus here and put some work here. But there's also that need with girls too, which of course the First Lady being who she is and having 2 daughters.
Right.
How could you not want to address?
Two beautiful daughters. I don't want to go
yes.
too much into the fashion, but those dresses that they wore at their first White House dinner, a lot of flack about that because they were expensive dresses. And I mean, what do you think about that?
I mean, I think that they kind of missed the point. You know, the point wasn't what they were wearing. The point is that look at these beautiful young women. Look at how they've grown up. We've watched them grow up in the White House. What a shining example. And just, you know, to see them like acknowledge they're growing up and they're coming into their own was a beautiful thing to witness. And none of that other stuff should take away from that.
One of the key moments in your position as editor-in-chief was when you ran the Black Lives Matter cover, because I think it signaled a change in focus and understanding the importance of your audience and what you could accomplish by addressing this. It was for the first time, it was not a beautiful woman, black woman of any color, but it was print that had black women writing stories about what had happened. Tell us how you came about doing that and the difference that it made in the perception of the magazine.
Sure. You know, it was that period of time where the Eric Garner decision had come down, you know, the Michael Brown decision had come down, and everyone in the office was feeling the weight of it. And feeling quite honestly, maybe a little helpless, a little vulnerable, not knowing what do we do, what can we do, what should we do? And after a weekend of really a lot of serious thinking, we came together as editors, as a community, and said, well, we have to address it. What are we going to do? We're going to let people talk. We're going to make sure that they understand that this is the only conversation that matters right now. And what do we do next? That we kind of, and it was a turning point, I think, for us as a team, because it allowed us to take our power back, empower ourselves, own that we have a platform that is influential and can further conversation, can drive conversation, can actually drive change if we use it that way. I think it really freed us up, especially once we got the response from our audience.
What was the first? Did you get any of the "Where's the Essence That I Knew," or this is the way to go?
No, it was overwhelmingly positive. In fact, I mean, I was getting emails I got an email from Shonda Rhimes that said, "Well done, you guys nailed it." You know, I mean, like, from you know, the little girl on the, you know, in high school to, you know, influencers in our community. We got such tremendous support, and it just showed all of us that we have a platform that's still as relevant today as it was in 1970 when the magazine was first started.
That essence, but you must admit that the health of black publications is not exactly rosy. You guys are doing well. Now, Ed Lewis and his friends, his colleagues founded it, and Susan Taylor was the editor-in-chief, but it was sold to Time Warner, so you've got some healthy dollars behind your publication. But some others, like Ebony and Black Enterprise, not doing as well.
Well, I mean, you know, it's a thing of, it's just a troubling time for any magazine, right? We're all having challenges on the newsstand. We all have to rethink our business. We'll have to think about, well, how do we continue to use the platform that we have, but reach different audiences? So I think actually Essence got a really huge head start a long time ago, because, you know, the people who ran the business then were always thinking about a brand extension. So, you know, we had Essence Books, there was an Essence catalog, there was, you know, the Essence Festival, and that has continued to this day. All of these new kind of, you know, extensions are ways for us to reach our audience where they are. I mean, you know, we have a tablet edition, we're on mobile, obviously the website, you know, flooding the zone in social media, starting this new business with Beauty Box, having the festival expand to another country. I mean, all of another continent.
Right.
All of these things are ways to continue to leverage the relationship, the loyalty that people have, the connection people have to the brand, but in different places. And I think that's the way that we all have to work if we really truly want to continue to have thriving Black media.
And are you optimistic that, I mean, the newspapers are down? What do you think?
Yeah, I believe that there will always be that core. Just like with books. Everybody said when ebooks came around, like, nobody's going to buy a book. Nobody's ever going to buy another book. That did not happen, obviously. The way people...
And I hear Amazon is opening
bookstores.
And
they're opening, yes, they're opening bricks and mortar stores. So that just goes to show you that, there's always a place for good content. Where it shows up, how it shows up, that may change. And that will change because the world changes.
Well, speaking of the world, I always ask as a final question the guest, how do you finish this sentence? The power, the strength of Black America lies in?
Ourselves. All we have to do is own the power that we already have. The spirit of our ancestors lives and breathes in us. If they could do what they did, certainly we can, even in the 21st century. And the more we remind ourselves of that, and it is our role at Essence to continue to remind ourselves of that, then we will always succeed. We'll always push forward, no matter what.
Well, Vanessa DeLuca, thank you so much for that and for the work that you're doing at Essence in so many ways. We appreciate your being here today.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, it's great. And thank you all so much for being with us today. I'm Carol Jenkins. The program is Black America, and we will see you the next time.